Tanjiro Kamado's ancestry was a massive part of the Demon Slayer storyline, and was the key to unlocking sun breathing. But what if Tanjiro came from a completely different bloodline? One that actually puts him even further at odds with the Demon King Muzan. In today's video, we'll explore how the Demon Slayer story could change if Muzan Kibutsuji was Tanjiro's dad. Now, this theory sounds absolutely insane, so let's just do a little setup to figure out how exactly we ended up here. Naturally, Tanjiro isn't born while Muzan is still human, as he only emerged as the Demon King centuries later. So Tanjiro is still born in the Taisho era, but then our first major hurdle is that Muzan is incapable of feeling genuine love or forming real human connections. We could go down a path where Muzan still retained fragments of his humanity, but that's pretty unlikely given the Demon King's track record. So how does Muzan end up having a child? Well, we know that his main weakness is being sensitive to the sun, so Muzan develops a theory that the secret to making the perfect demon might actually be to restore some of his humanity. Think about it. Even if he lost half his powers, Muzan would still be far more powerful than the strongest human, but immunity to the sun would make him practically unstoppable. So Muzan decides to task his demons with finding the blue spider lily and take on a little side project, creating a human-demon hybrid. Now, we don't know for sure if demons can reproduce with humans, but given that Muzan already has internal organs like hearts and brains, it shouldn't be impossible. So when he meets a kind and gentle woman named Kie one day, Muzan sets his plan into action. Kie treats Muzan with genuine compassion, completely unaware of what he truly is, and for the first time in his demonic existence, Muzan experiences a connection to humanity. He takes on a human disguise, living with Kie as her husband, and when she becomes pregnant, something unprecedented happens. The child, Tanjiro, is born as a half-demon, half-human hybrid, the first of his kind. Muzan is fascinated by this development, seeing the potential in Tanjiro that could lead to conquering the sun's weakness. But there's a problem. Tanjiro shows no demonic traits whatsoever early on in his life. He appears completely human, with only his mother's gentle nature and appearance. Disappointed but still intrigued, Muzan stays for a few years, watching his son grow. But when Tanjiro is 5 years old, with no signs of turning into a demon, Muzan's demonic nature reasserts itself completely. He realizes that this attachment to a human woman and a half-human child is exactly the kind of vulnerability that could lead to his destruction. So one night, Muzan disappears without a trace, leaving Kie to believe he died, just like in our previous timeline. Kie eventually remarries Tanjiro, a gentle man who agrees to raise Muzan's son as his own, never knowing the truth about Tanjiro's biological father. Tanjiro grows up accepting Tanjiro as his new father, and takes care of the remaining Kamado siblings as if they were his own. Tanjiro also watches on as Tanjiro performs the Hinokami Kagura each night to protect their family, and for some reason, the dance has a deep resonance with him. Tanjiro doesn't realize it, but the demon cells within him are resonating with the Hinokami Kagura, linking it to the sun breathing that defeated Muzan all those years ago. Many years later, when Tanjiro is about 15 years old, Muzan returns to the Kamado household to see the progress of his child. But when he gets there, he only sees Kie, Nezuko, and the rest of Tanjiro's children. Tanjiro is nowhere to be seen as he is left to sell some coal in the nearby village, and is spending the night at Saburo's house instead. Muzan attacks the household and infuses all of them with his blood out of rage because he can't sense Tanjiro. So Nezuko is still transformed into a demon in this timeline, and Tanjiro is still discovered by Giyu, but the water Hashira notices something unusual about him. Tanjiro's aura is different from a regular human, almost imperceptible, but wrong somehow. At this point, some of Muzan's powers have started manifesting in Tanjiro. He has incredible strength that allows him to restrain Nezuko when she turns into a demon. Giyu sends the siblings to Orokodaki, and there Tanjiro discovers he has an almost supernatural ability to recover from injuries and stamina that seems limitless. Tanjiro attributes this to hard work, but Orokodaki realizes that there's something unusual flowing through the boy's veins. The difference begins to manifest when Tanjiro starts fighting demons, as when he encounters the Hand Demon and Swamp Demon, there's a ferocity that he doesn't even understand. But here's where things get really interesting. Most of you will remember that Tanjiro actually encountered Muzan in Asakusa, so what will happen in this timeline? He immediately recognizes his father's scent and runs toward Muzan, but the Demon King responds by creating demons in the crowd and making his escape. This time, when Muzan sends Susumaru and Yahaba to fight Tanjiro, it's not because he wants to hunt down the boy with Hanafuda earrings. Muzan wants to test his son and see if he has any demonic potential. Tanjiro doesn't disappoint and properly earns Muzan's attention, but he also runs into Tamayo and Yushiro, who immediately begin inspecting Tanjiro's blood after hearing his story. Tamayo advises Tanjiro not to tell anyone about what they have just learned, and instructs him to continue sending blood samples from powerful demons, just like in the original timeline. Buckle in now, because things are going to get pretty intense, starting from the Mount Naragumo arc, as Tanjiro's awakening is completely different this time. Initially, he only used the Hinokami Kagura to cut through Rui's webs, but this time, red marks spread across his skin, and his eyes briefly flash with a demonic gleam. Tanjiro actually defeats Rui with overwhelming power that's sufficient to cut through the Lower Moon 5's neck and the threads that hold it, shocking even Giyu and Shinobu when they arrive. When Tanjiro is brought before the Hashira, his rage triggers a transformation when Sanemi cuts himself to provoke Nezuko. For the first time, his dormant demon blood fully awakens, and demonic marks spread across his body as his eyes turn crimson. The Hashira immediately move to execute him, but Kaguya stops them as he has already heard the story from Tamayo and knows what to expect. When Nezuko successfully passes the test, the siblings are allowed to continue, but under severe scrutiny from the Demon Slayers. Meanwhile, Muzan sees Tanjiro through Rui, and is shocked to find that his own son has now begun using sun breathing, the very technique that nearly killed him centuries ago. From this point forward, Tanjiro is both hunted by demons and suspected by Demon Slayers. He's caught between two worlds, belonging to neither. But there's another character in Demon Slayer who's just like that. In this timeline, Tanjiro doesn't work together with Zenitsu and Inosuke, and is instead assigned to team up with Genya Shinazugawa, the Demon Slayer who powers up by eating demon flesh. Genya has always worked on controlling his demonic instincts, so he's naturally a perfect fit for Tanjiro's training partner. The two work with Gyomei to refine their levels of control, but what this means is that Tanjiro doesn't get involved in the Mugen Train or Entertainment District arcs. Instead, Tanjiro fully awakens his Demon Slayer mark in the Swordsmith Village, but this is accompanied by a partial demonic transformation that terrifies even Mitsuri and Genya. For the first time, Tanjiro feels the urge to consume flesh, just for a moment before he regains control. The Demon Slayers still defeat Hantengu, but Tanjiro has accessed his demonic blood at this point, and he feels his humanity slipping away. Instead of Muzan only targeting Nezuko, he focuses on Tanjiro as well in this timeline, realizing that his experiment succeeded and that he has created a powerful demon hybrid that can resist the sun's effects. When the Infinity Castle arc begins, Muzan has a specific plan: separate Tanjiro from the other Demon Slayers and force him to join the demons. As the Hashira are scattered throughout the castle, Muzan personally hunts for his son. "Why do you resist?" Muzan asks, genuinely confused. "I gave you power beyond any human's wildest dreams. You could be immortal, perfect, unstoppable." But Tanjiro stands firm and replies that Kie, Tanjiro, and Nezuko are his real family, and the ones that he will fight for. Realizing that he cannot convince Tanjiro, Muzan attempts to do what he did in the original timeline: transform Tanjiro into the new Demon King. But instead of sending all his remaining blood into Tanjiro, Muzan just delivers a powerful dose, about twice the amount that he gave his strongest upper moon. But something unexpected happens in this timeline. We know that Genya could resist the corrupting effects of even Kokushibo's flesh, so with the training that Tanjiro has received so far, he's actually able to resist Muzan. It's agonizing, with every cell in his body screaming in pain, but Tanjiro holds on to his humanity by remembering everyone he loves. The final battle becomes a race against time. Can the Demon Slayers defeat Muzan before Tanjiro transforms, or will he lose himself completely to his demon blood? But as the battle rages, Muzan realizes his fatal mistake. He thought making Tanjiro into a demon would give him a successor, but instead, he created the one being who could actually kill him, someone with sun breathing and immunity to his attacks. Tanjiro finds peace by embracing both sides of his nature, and uses his demon blood to enhance sun breathing to levels never seen before. He generates blades that literally burn, and rains hell on Muzan by unleashing all 12 forms of sun breathing, with more speed and power than Yoriichi himself. As the Demon King begins to disintegrate in the sunlight, he looks at Tanjiro one last time. "You could have been perfect," Muzan whispers as he fades to ash. Tanjiro also begins to burn, but unlike Muzan, Tanjiro doesn't burn to ash. His human blood, his mother's blood, saves him at the last moment. The demon half of him dies in the sunlight, leaving behind only the human Tanjiro, finally free from the curse of his father's blood. If you like this story, make sure to like and subscribe so that you never miss more incredible Demon Slayer content.